My name is Alex Gonzalez, and this is my $2.3 million car collection, and I'm extremely happy to share with you guys because it took me a very long time to get it. And come from Dunkin' Donuts to nothing, there's a lot that I've achieved. So I want to share my cars with you guys, my favorite features, what I don't like, and from top to bottom. So let's go. Oh, and by the way, they're like 10, 11 cars. Make sure you watch all the way to the end. All right, guys, so in today's video, I'm going to be reviewing my $2.3 million car collection. So I'm gonna just rate them from my favorite to obviously my least favorite. I'm gonna talk about the pros, the cons, my best experience, my worst experience, how much it cost me, and honestly, what I really think about it overall. And by the way, I am not going to be listing them in order. That's just boring, defeats the purpose of the video. So it's gonna be random what car is my favorite and my least favorite. But we're going to start off with my least favorite car, which is this Chevy Camaro SS. What is this?
It's a V6. It's
a V6, right? Well, whatever the fuck this is, it is my least favorite car. So we got this car originally to sell in the woods, but actually one of the guys on my team ended up really liking it, and then we just kind of like gave it to him. So this is my least favorite car. What we just do with this car is just burnouts. As you guys can see back over here, we have completely blown out the back fender, because when we do the burnouts, the tire pops and then it just slashes out the fender. We lost this gas cap because we were throwing cones at it as we were doing donuts. And you guys might think, this car does donuts? Yes. Why? Well, because it is a 6-speed manual transmission. So we pop the fuck out of the clutch of this thing, and it sometimes doesn't turn on, so we always ride around with jumper cables on it. And honestly, it's a cool, fun car for the budget, but it's not something that I would ever drive outside of a warehouse kind of thing like this, where we can just do like degenerate stuff. So this car is fun, but it's like sketchy. So the things that I hate about this car is going to be the way it drives, the transmission, and the steering wheel. The steering wheel on this thing is ginormous. So I hate how big the steering wheel is. I feel like I'm in a truck, and you can see how dirty this shift knob is. All right, so this is usually what we get this car for. We don't really give a shit about it. It is my number 11 on the list. These other ones are gonna be a lot funner. Oh, and by the way, the price of this car was like $20,000, I think. I have no idea. So it'd be my number 11 on the list. I give it an overall 6 out of 10 because it is reliable, I can't even lie, and it is fun, but honestly, it's just an old car that the quality isn't good. But it's actually funner than some of these cars on this list, and let me get into it right now. Next, which is my number 3 on the list out of my 11 cars, is going to be my Porsche 992 GT3 6-speed PTS. So PTS is paint to sample, because this color is pretty much like one of one. You can't get this color even if you wanted to. It's extremely rare. So this is obviously a beautiful car cosmetically on the outside. It looks absolutely beautiful. You have some extremely fat tires in the back. This is what I like to call my second go-to drift car in the whole entire fleet. I have 3 drift cars in the whole entire fleet, and this is probably the funnest one if I'm doing donuts or maybe just like getting out of a corner. But if I really want to like do like 4 lanes, like how I like to do it, this is not the car for it, because since the engine is in the back, it pushes the car forward versus like the other cars that I have engines in the front. It's a lot easier to drift. So probably one of my favorite features about this car is going to be the actual rear of it. So we have a beautiful tail light that kind of just, you know, goes across beautifully. Obviously this super ideal wing. Yeah, I weigh 200 pounds, probably 205. You can really get on this, stand on it. Nothing's going to happen. It'll be just fine. This is actually a 6-speed. So if we were to come into the inside, we have our 6-speed 992 with the bucket seats, which honestly, it's super uncomfortable. I honestly hate getting in and out of this car. It makes it extremely uncomfortable to get in and out of the car. Not ideal, but honestly, who gives a shit? We're young, nobody gives a fuck. We obviously have our stock wheels right now, which not a big fan of. Usually every single other car in the fleet has aftermarket rims. For some reason, I just kind of stay with this little track look. I like the way it looks. And the previous owner that had it, for some reason, painted all of these parts glossy black. So they usually come about like it's like a matte black, and the previous owner painted it. I thought that it was a wrap. No, the guy like actually painted it. So I tried to take it off from the front bumper, and I tried to take it off from the side skirt, and it's paint. I feel like the guy fucked it up. We have 2 cup holders in this. So we have 1 cup holder right here, which you guys can know is actually cool. And then we have a 2nd cup holder over here, which honestly, I actually never use. So we have a GoPro mounts pretty much everywhere throughout the car, because usually, you know, we go drifting in this with the majority of the people. And this one, I've actually had it for about like 6 months almost. And when I first originally got it, I paid $300,000 for this car, which at the time was like the peak of it. It's like as soon as it came out. Now it's probably worth anywhere from like 250, 240, especially the way I've driven it and how I have taken care of it. Oh, another thing, this thing is extremely reliable. It's been asking for a quart of oil for over a month, and we are still redlining it every single day. No issue, the car will turn on, does not matter what it has been put through. Also, it's a brand new car, so you can't really, you know, judge it fully just yet. But what I will tell you is that this shit is reliable as fuck. This is not carbon fiber, and it's a fucking wrap. They put fake carbon fiber on the roof and sold it as a real one. My windshield is cracked. So I was doing push-ups on it one day, just for a video, and I sat on, I stood on it, and I cracked it. And then the crack has just slowly been going across the windshield. Sucks. All right, next is my number 5 on the list is going to be my wide body Urus. So this is actually the first Urus that I ever owned. And everybody and their mother has seen a Urus and owned the Urus. I'm like, you know what, like if I'm gonna go buy a Urus, let's make it different. So I found this 1016 wide body Urus with every single spec checked out, because I didn't want to just get another basic Urus. And honestly, I don't want to get a Urus at all. But I had a Rolls Royce Cullinan and I was like super bored of it after like 3 months. I'm like, you know what, I need a new SUV. And then I found this. So this is my new wide body Urus that I've had for about 6 months as well. I bought this at the same time as my twin turbo Lamborghini Performante, because I actually bought them together because they have the same exact look on them. Like they have the same color, the same wide body kit, same wheels, same everything, same interior. So obviously this car exterior wise is absolutely beautiful. So the wide body on this car is actually done very, very well. I've seen many different types of wide bodies and they look kind of like cheap. This is like very firm, sturdy. We obviously have the hood as well. A little bit of a turn off, but it's not forged carbon, so it's like a black hood. I thought it was gonna be forged carbon like the Lambo, which we'll get to there in a second. Moving on to the wheels, we have these ginormous 3-piece wheels that give it the aggressive look. Without these wheels, this car would not have this crazy look. And you can see how wide they are. Look how much of this shit sticks out. Like, look at this. You have like a whole hand that sticks out from the car just because of these wheels alone, which gives it the aggressive look. We have a sunroof, which I am never a fan of, simply because in Miami it gets super hot and I never want to have the sunroof open. No TVs and no middle section, so this is actually a 5-seater. You know, the more exclusive Uruses, they're a 4-seater. It does have starlights, but everywhere around it because the sunroof takes up majority of the space. Beautiful red interior with red stitching throughout the whole entire car. Something that I don't like about the Satin PPF is that over time, you can see inside here that it would actually like turn a little bit dirty because dirt obviously accumulates into there, like also inside here. So you can see how like inside there, dirt actually accumulates into the edges of the PPF, which takes away from the little bit of the detail from it. Trunk space on this car is obviously pretty big. Something that I really do like about this car is that it came with a tune and an exhaust. So you can see we have Capristo exhaust, which this thing actually sounds fucking ridiculous for what it is, and it's fast as shit. I don't know how much they tuned it to or what they did to it, but it is super fast. Something about my cars is that I don't like doing the work on them myself. Like I already like buying a car that is built, saves me time, saves me money, and it saves me like the headache of having to deal with that shit as a whole. So over here, they threw a little bit of the Mexican flag onto the car. I don't know why they do this on the Lambos. It kind of confuses me sometimes. The cars are Italian. They should put an Italian flag, not a Mexican flag. So obviously on the driver's side, you have your basic, oh my God, it sounds so crazy, bro. So obviously in here, it's just like a regular Urus, just like another one. You have all of your standard buttons throughout the interior. You have massage chairs, which are actually very cool. And I personally love this dual screen that this has to offer. So you can see the aggression. I feel like everybody knows this already, but you can see the aggression. Like if we go from Strata, which is like the base model, all the way to like Corsa, you can see how the revs, they start coming up a lot more aggressive. And you can actually hear it like rev up. It's cold, so it's still warming up. Everything looks obviously very standard, you know, your dual screen on the Urus. This car, surprisingly enough, actually drives better on the high end than the Porsche. This car is an absolute beast, extremely reliable. Obviously gas, you know, you're gonna eat up gas because you have V8 twin turbo engine. There's really nothing else other to say than the Urus is absolutely beautiful, the way this one looks. And they're dogs, like you can literally beat on these things all day, every day. They're never gonna give you a problem. From the second I get in this car, I am accelerating it to the end until I get to my destination. The only thing this car will ask for is for gas, nothing else. The only thing I don't like is the way when you put it in Corsa, how the transmission shifts. It's a little bit more aggressive. Like it actually, like, you know, it's almost like if it's launching into the next gear. It's a little bit of a turnoff. But aside from that, I have absolutely no complaints. The car is absolutely phenomenal. I would give it a 9 out of 10. And I paid about $300,000 when I bought it about 6 months ago. Now, who knows, I'll probably take a huge out on it. Next is going to be another wide body that's in my car list. It's actually one of the most random cars that I've ever bought in, and it's going to be my wide body Dodge Charger Scat Pack. So this car was originally actually bought to give away with Fan Funded, which is a prop firm, but for sports bettors. So if you don't want to, you know, basically bet with your own money, you can use Fan Funded, and then they will bank you your own picks. So you can pretty much have risk-free when you're betting. And this car was to give away in that company, but it never happened. So we kind of just like forgot about it in my garage. And I hate this car so much because it rides like ass. Hear that rattle? Yeah, this thing has a couple bodies for sure. So obviously this car is loud, cool, but it's definitely not fun because I thought the driving experience was gonna be a lot better, but this car is a literal boat. So the interior of this car is, you have a trucker size steering wheel, or maybe I just got used to the other sports cars that are actually smaller and sportier. This thing is a little bit more beat up in terms of like the cosmetics here. But obviously we have very clean interior, 392 all over. It actually had a camera in the front so it can catch its victims that it would run over. I think I've driven this car 2 times and I've had it for like 4 months because it was supposed to give away. And I don't like driving the cars that I personally am gonna give away. And it realistically just sits in the garage and catches dust. I'm at the point now where we either might set it on fire, we might just blow it up, or probably just give it away. But I don't see myself driving this car ever. It is not even a fun car to do donuts in. Like I tried to drift it, and it obviously does drift and it will get the job done, but nowhere near like the Porsche and nowhere near like the M3 that I have, which is actually a lot more useful for drifting. This car is more for, it's like blow it up and make it catch fire, honestly. This shit is slow as fuck. My Maybach Sprinter is probably faster than this piece of shit, honestly. Like this thing, I mean, you can see the tires, like we obviously smoke them. Like you can literally see like some dirt back here. You can see how we do smoke the tires on this car, so we use it for what it is. But aside from donuts, this car is no good, no fun. But I just really think it is extremely, it just makes a lot of noise and it doesn't move. In terms of reliability, I've only driven it like 2-3 times. And I know these cars actually tend to be reliable from what I've heard. Don't have a lot of experience myself, but it's gotten the job done for the 2-3 times that I've used it. And I'll give this car like an overall 5 out of 10. And obviously, despite everything that I hate about it, the one thing that I do like is if, you know, you're kind of want to drift on a budget and you also want to have like a daily car, that's what this car would be perfect for. Probably like 6 years ago, before all this, you know, crazy lifestyle happened, I would have definitely owned this car. But now seeing what others can do, this would definitely not want to be my go-to. So I paid about, I think, $50,000 for this car. I mean, like, it looks good from like this angle, don't get me wrong, and I like it, but I feel like the driving experience, like for me, if the driving experience is not good, look at that, this shit's fucking even making me sneeze, bro. I can't deal with this shit. If the driving experience is not good, to me it's trash, honestly. Like the car has to drive good because you're driving, like you buy a car because you drive it. And if when you drive it, it's ass, why are you buying it? Like it can look cool, all right, but if you want to get a show car, this is not a show car. So the driving experience really throws it completely off for me. And honestly, I'm like super against like show cars. I think show cars is probably like one of the dumbest things you could ever do. Like the point of a car is so you buy it and drive it, not so you just park it and look at it. Car's meant to be driven. Oh, another thing, if you buy a car and you don't drive it like a man, why did you even buy it? So every single car that has been here has been driven like a man. Even the Maybach, we tried drifting it the other night. That didn't go as planned. We almost ran into that wall over there. You can see the tire marks right there. Show cars, honestly, to me, is probably one of the dumbest things ever. Because you're just, I mean, if you're obviously extremely wealthy and you just want to use it as art and a place to store money, cool. But for me that I'm young and I want to actually be able to enjoy and live it up, I think the best thing that I can possibly do is actually drive the cars, not just look at them. Next on the list, coming at 8th place, is going to be my Maybach Sprinter. So I actually never thought I would buy one of these things. The purchase actually came extremely random. When I bought the Phantom, actually, literally the guy was like, yo, I want to show you something, just in case if you might want to get it. And he gave me a deal that I couldn't resist. And honestly, it's become like one of my favorite cars to use whenever I don't feel like driving. And it looks super low key whenever I want to ride low key. So this is my Maybach Sprinter. which honestly, all the fun part is realistically in the back. So we have a beautiful blue interior inside of this car. So you guys can see that this is pretty much where I spend the majority of my time, which is just chilling back here. And it actually comes with a bunch of different range of things. So we have 2 different types of captain chairs, which obviously like our feet could pretty much like roll up and completely be like an executive couch, but mobile, which is actually very cool. And obviously whatever happens for this chair, the same thing would happen for this chair. We have 2 little reclinable chairs right here, which these are actually, you know, they can go up and down if you have luggage or if you actually want to lay down. So I can completely move the chair forward, lay down, and this can be like a whole ass like little, you know, single bed. We also have a TV. So this section right here, I click this button up, the TV does go up, and I have Wi-Fi, so I can put YouTube, honestly put whatever I want. And we have pretty much like ambient lighting at nighttime, so it looks like super, super cool. Speakers in this thing are fucking crazy. It's like a mini club inside of this car. And we have a phone right there that you can like call straight into the driver if you want to do whatever it is that you want to do. You just click it, phones them in the front, and they will fix it. We also have trays in here. You know, you want to be working on the go, you could pretty much work on your laptop. I personally love this car, but one of the biggest turnoffs for me is a motion sickness. So I get really easy motion sickness. If all the windows are down on the car, which makes it look super, super cool because it's almost like a night vibe, then I would get motion sickness if the car is driving too fast. So I actually have to drive with the windows up. So if I were to actually click this button right here and then put close, you can see how all the windows actually close to the downside. And it pretty much creates literally like a cave in this whole entire. If you come in and then we close the door, this whole entire thing is literally about to go like pitch black right now. So these lights are gonna automatically turn off and we're fully pitch black right now. So if I were to open the windows, then we would obviously be able to see a little bit on the outside. The only thing is that these are literal limo tints. So it's like 0. And if you would actually want to be able to see inside, you just turn on these strobe lights and then it'd pretty much be on. So it is pretty cool. Another con about it is the way the AC is set up. So we do have vents throughout the car everywhere here. So we have vents here, there, and on that side over there as well. But the thing is that with the Miami heat that, you know, we get 100-degree weather Fahrenheit pretty much every other day during the summer, it's not enough to keep the car cool. So you literally have to have the TV down so the AC from the front blasts into here and it kind of creates a okay temperature. But the majority of the temperature in here is actually really, really hot during the daytime. At nighttime, it could actually be a little bit more cool. But there's something that I do need to upgrade and figure out is how do I get colder AC? I probably need like an extra unit on the outside. So that's a little bit of a con and a turn off that during the day in traffic, it's gonna be really hot in here because the AC is simply not strong enough compared to the heat from outside. Something else that I don't like, which is a little bit of a turn off, honestly, I'd probably never use it, is actually a cooler. So I expected for this here to have some type of cooler system. Honestly, just to say that I have it, I would never use it. The Phantom has a cooler and I've never used it and I probably will never use it. It's just kind of cool to know that you have it. This car also has a 4-cylinder, so it never wastes any gas, so it's actually extremely convenient. But it is very slow. Not that you want to go fast in this, but if there's at any point that you want to haul ass, it will not haul ass at all. So if I were to rate the Maybach Sprinter overall, I'd probably give it like a 9 out of 10. The only reason is because I can't drive it myself. So for me to actually enjoy it, it has to get driven. And sometimes like, you know, I just want to be driving and it kind of sucks that I can't drive it to enjoy it fully how it should. And then also the AC kind of sucks right now. So I do give it a 9 out of 10, which is very high. And honestly, I love it. Aside from the AC and the motion sickness, I have absolutely no complaints and highly recommend this car. Cosmetically on the outside, I don't know if this is like a cheap kit or something, but you can kind of see how like the Maybach thing is very, very, very cheap. It's like almost like peeling off, which is very weird. This is actually a wrap, so the car is actually gray under, but I love how the black looks because it looks super low key. You won't even notice that this is a Maybach inside of traffic. And cosmetically, I think it looks super, super subtle. And I love how it has the chrome rims, which kind of matches like the chrome aesthetics of the car. So outside of the car, I love it. Coming in at number 7 on my list is going to be my love and hate relationship with my twin turbo Lamborghini Performante. It's crazy, right? Some of you guys might think, why is this car number 7? Well, let me explain to you right now. This car is beautiful. It looks amazing, but it is I rather drive that. Actually, I might be lying. This is better. But that gives me less problems. this gives me more problems. And if something gives me problems, I don't like it, I hate it. So this is my Lamborghini Performante with our Mexican flag right here on the door. I don't know why they keep doing this, but this car, as you can see, is a perfect match to the wide body Urus. That's why I bought them both together at the same time, because they look absolutely beautiful together. We make our way to the front of the car. You can see how we have a real forged carbon hood. So this is real forged carbon, and it was actually wrapped white to kind of give it the white detail throughout the whole entire car. You have a beautiful carbon, well, forged carbon front bumper. If we were to open the hood right here, you can see how we have no hood. Why? Because we have bags. So these bags take up our whole entire front space, which you can actually hear them right now getting filled up or deflating or whatever it does. We make our way over here to this side. You can see how we have the same kit as we have on the Urus, but as well here. So we have our flares, we have our forged carbon on the vehicle on this side as well. And then we also have beautiful 3-piece wheels, which these 3-piece wheels are honestly very, very nice on the car. And I actually like how these look, rather if they were to actually be white, if they match the wide body Urus. These 3-piece wheels are like this kind of gold color, looks very, very good. You obviously have the big brakes, makes this car actually brakes faster than it accelerates. And then this is where the problems begin. Problems begin where the fun begins as well. And that is with this twin turbo Lamborghini kits by Sheepy. This is Sheepy build. So this is a Sheepy build twin turbo Lamborghini, and it looks ridiculous, right? You're riding around the highway with this, you're fucking spitting flames, making the craziest noises. But little do they know that you're not doing that by choice. You're doing that because the car is about to blow the fuck up. This car is fun, it is fast, but it is not reliable. I guess whoever built it, because I bought it built as well, and the person that did the bags and did the whole nine, something is wrong with it. I don't know if it's the computer, I don't know if it's the ECU. You can beat the shit out of the car for about 15 minutes. And after 15 minutes, the computer gets hot and it starts tripping out. First gear won't work, third gear won't work, fifth and seventh. You only have second and fourth gear. And all you have to do is turn it off, give it like a minute, turn it back on, and then it works perfectly fine. Like, there's just some type of electricity problem with it and tuning, which I know it's just a little detail at it, but I hate having the cars in the shop. I just feel like, why do I have the car if it's at the shop? I like having my cars at my house. So I've honestly left it like that forever, so I barely ever drive it. So another detail I do like about this car is how they did match the engine cover with that X bar, which looks really cool because the X bar, if you notice, it's the same exact color as the brake, and the engine cover, it is the same exact color as the gold part of the rim. So there's a really, really cool detail. And this car honestly is a very big neck breaker, and all the car enthusiasts love it. Making our way into the inside of the car, this car is actually black, and I really love it because it has the comfort seats. But since it's like super low because of the bags, it's actually a mission to get in and out of this car. But aside from that, I have no complaints from the inside of the car. It's beautiful. We have forged carbon everywhere. Like literally, you have forged carbon in every single piece of the car, even on these vents right here. We obviously have our airlift kit here as well. And I have absolutely no complaints when it comes to this car inside. I love it, perfect, looks great. But the problem is the way it drives with the bags and the transmission with the turbo. So the bags, this car literally rides like a cloud. It literally be like floating, so the drive is shit. So the suspension ride of this car is actually like really, really trash. Even though this is probably like a $15,000, $20,000 suspension kit with the work put in and all that. Obviously, like you're riding and you're literally like, feel like you're in a cloud. The fastest I've gone is probably like 150. Sketchiest thing in my life because of the bags. Also, the transmission and the way it's like, you know, works, terrible. I hate it because it's messed up, it's not reliable. But it does sound ridiculous. It's probably one of the best sounding cars in the whole entire fleet that I have, and kind of makes up some of the brownie points. But the fact that there's always something wrong with it, it just completely kills the rating for me. But aside from that, I have absolutely no complaints on the car. Like exterior wise, I think this is one of the nicest looking Huracans you can ever get. Obviously, especially with the twin turbo kit. I always ride around without the back bumper because it looks extremely aggressive. Like, why would you want to have a twin turbo kit and not be able to show it? Like, you want to show your twin turbo kit. Something also that I like a lot about this car is how thick it looks. Like when you look at it from the back like this, it literally looks like a fucking beast. You have these super thick tires in the back plus the twin turbo kit. Like that right there just looks like an iconic car picture that somebody would have as their wallpaper. And I have it as a driveway taking up space that I fucking hate it. I'm gonna replace it with something very soon. It could be a hypercar, could be another supercar, who knows? So coming in at number 4 in the list is going to be my BMW M3 F80. So this is actually like one of my funnest and like one of my favorite cars. It's actually like one of the cheapest as well. So I have never been a BMW fan in my whole entire life. I've actually hated BMW. I've been more of a Mercedes guy. Like I would much rather have a C63, or at least I thought, a C63S versus an M3, but then I was completely wrong after I got this one. So this one is actually very, very nice because this is the M3 competition series. So we have obviously carbon fiber throughout the whole entire car. Literally we have the full carbon kit. Do all of them come with this hood?
Yeah.
Well, we have it as well. We have pretty much the basic standard wheels that the car comes with. And this car is actually red on the inside, which I didn't like and I was not a fan of. So I wrapped it the cheap way and I did not do the door jambs, which now I'm thinking of wrapping it white because like this is real carbon fiber, right? You see, this is not like the Porsche. This is real carbon fiber. You can see the difference. So this car is honestly one of the craziest drift machines that mankind has ever created. This thing, I can drift 4th gear going 80 miles an hour and I'll be completely to one side and then I'll go to completely on the other side on the highway in Mexico. Remember, in Mexico. And I can do it with 5 people in the car with the street wet, no issue, even the street dry. So the car has a little bit of a tune, it has an exhaust. It's not super fast, like, you know, it just has enough power to drift with 4 people in the car going 80 miles an hour, which is always fun. And it smokes the fuck out of these tires like this. I probably change the tires on this like every 2 weeks because it smokes them so fast. Coming over to the back of the car, obviously after the beat up duck wing, the back of it looks actually extremely nice because we also have the thickness of it. So it has a little bit of a curve to the back of it right here, which makes it look like very thick. Oh look, prime example of what we do in this car. So we're actually drifting and I think we like just scrape the curb just a little bit. We almost lost the whole tire. We hit a little bit of the fender right here while we were drifting as well, which messed it up a little bit. But honestly, this is just my fun car. This is a car I get to just have fun with the boys. If any guests come and I'll just take them out in this to have fun. Something that I don't like about it, and is a little bit of turn off, is that it is actually automatic. So I hate that this car is automatic. I wish this car was manual because I feel like it would have been so much more fun. But it's a lot easier to drift in this car because it is automatic. If the car were to be manual, I feel like it'd be a little bit harder because you can actually launch this car with the, what does it have, DCT, right?
Yeah.
So DCT in it. So I don't know all my terminologies about a car, but I am a professional or semi-professional drifter. If you have any doubts, try me and I will show you what's up. The interface is obviously very basic. It's an older generation or M3. The new one is actually very nice. Obviously, if you've been in an M3 before or any BMW, you hate this right here. So every single time you get into the car and you hold on to that right there, you're going to get dirty from the residue that this is going to leave every single time, and it sucks. I tell the car wash guys to take it out, but it just never goes completely out. We have the dope seats. So we have the red bucket seats. This is like my degenerate car. Like this is a car that I would just use to just tear up the streets for like 15, 20 minutes before the cops come, and then I leave. So I paid for this car, I think it was like $75,000, and now it's obviously not worth that anymore. So this has actually been one of my low-key cars, and if you've been following me for like the last 2 years, you would have never known that I had this car. You'd have never known that I had, like, you would have probably never known I had like 2 or 3 cars on this fleet. It's because I like keeping my cars, some of my cars low-key, and I have like 3, 4 other cars that I keep very low-key, and I do not plan to show at any point, just because sometimes I just want to ride it around low-key, you know? So I paid $75,000 for it, and honestly, I give this car a 9.5 out of 10. I have no complaints on this car. It is absolutely reliable. Transmission is good, drifting is good, the driving experience is good. So I give it a 9.5 out of 10. The only thing I don't like is a little like cosmetic stuff. So like the doors, like when you have like the little gluey stuff that always is like peeling off. And also sometimes, like when you put it into first gear, it is DCT, like it'll like jump on you and it'll make you feel like you don't know how to drive an automatic car that is like manual, which is kind of a little bit of annoying. But aside from that, I have absolutely no complaints from this car, and I absolutely love it. Coming in number 6 on the list is going to be my 2024 Tesla Cybertruck. So actually, fun fact, I was the second person in all of Florida to actually own a Cybertruck. Obviously now it's like super redundant, a bunch of people have it, but I've had this for about like 3 to 4 months almost. I was the first person in Florida to ever have a Cybertruck after Pharrell. So I know Pharrell Williams was the first person to have it. I was the second person. So we obviously took advantage and we're like, you know what? This is a perfect moment to promo fan funded. So it was like a viral truck at that time, and fan funded is viral, so we pretty much took advantage. So this truck actually surprised me more than I thought when I originally got it. That's why it's coming in at number 6. One of the main things that I hate about this Cybertruck is the efficiency of it. So obviously this thing is battery powered, and it sucks because it is not fuel efficient or battery efficient at all. And I don't have a charging station at my house, so it is a mission for me to actually have to go and charge it. I mean, that is kind of cool. Like, this car is super futuristic, but it does kind of suck that the battery on this thing runs out like extremely fast. Even if you have it in chill mode, you constantly have to be recharging it. And it's very annoying because you can't determine if you're going to go long distance or short distance with this thing because it just burns battery all the time. Aside from that, this thing is an absolute beast. It's a tank, it's huge. The interface in the car is actually really cool. The way you open the doors, really cool. Very entertaining on how it does that. I actually like how it looks in the original color as well, but the wrap is what makes it pretty much very unique. So we have it with the purple on it. You know, we could have not done the fan funded on it, but you see, perfect example, 20%. And we've barely driven this thing. By it just being parked, it will burn so much battery because of the cameras always recording or whatever it's doing. But the inside of it is like every other Tesla. I think the steering wheel is smaller. This is actually the first Tesla that I ever owned and ever driven. I've never driven a Tesla before in my life. And I am not a big fan of the whole electric thing. I only got this because of the, you know, awareness and how it was viral. And now that I've had it, it's actually become like one of my favorite cars. It's super easy to drive, extremely user-friendly. So you have a bunch of different cool features that you can do inside of here. It's very futuristic, and anything that you want to do, you can pretty much figure it out right away. It almost makes you feel like you're in the future. This car is a beast. It actually has become very efficient. So obviously you guys know how you open the tailgate. Click this button right here, pretty much goes up. And then you click this button right here, and then the tailgate will come to the downside. So this is actually supposedly used as a cooler. So you can just come here, throw a bunch of stuff in there and use it as a cooler. I've never used it as a cooler. I just use it for storage, supposedly, I guess, for whatever that is. And everything about it is pretty self-explanatory. It's a Tesla, drives great. It's a beast on the road. The only bad thing about it is that it is not battery efficient, and it will take up a lot of space in your driveway. This takes up almost 2 cars worth of space in my driveway, which fucking sucks. So since we did get this before anybody did, we paid the tax, which is about like $180,000 for this truck, almost like $200,000 plus tax and all that stuff. So we did pay the price at the time of getting it, which now probably lost 100 grand already on it because of how the way we beat it up, the miles, and how the market's gone down. And this is a mass production vehicle. So this is not a, you know, numbered vehicle. So that devalues the car even more. And I would rate this car overall an 8 out of 10. The main turnoffs is that it is going to be the size of it. It's fucking huge. Parking in places is a little bit tricky, even though it does have the rear steering. And then also the battery life is a huge turnoff. Like, it makes me not want to drive the car ever, simply because I always have to be thinking, I'm like, fuck, I'm about to run out of battery soon. Or if I leave it there for too long, is it gonna burn too much battery? So having to worry about that constantly is just so annoying. But aside from that, the drive is very, very good. The speed is very, very good. It's really fast for what it is. And the brakes, they work great. So I actually love it. I just wish I had better battery life. Oh, and it does that. Did you get that? Yeah, so it like quacked and shit. So we have it for whenever we lock it, for it to quack. And we've tried to drift it and it just doesn't do it. We almost flipped the fuck out of this. Coming in at number 1 on my list is going to be my 2021 Ferrari 488 Pista. So this, I've probably had it for about 3 weeks, and it has very quickly become the number 1 car on my list. And honestly, I'm extremely surprised by this car because this is my first Ferrari that I have ever owned. So I've had pretty much every single Lambo, I've had every single type of McLaren. So I've had a 570S, I had a 720S, I also have a 720S MSO that I just bought off Steve Will Do It. And this tops every single one of those cars. I am extremely surprised the way this car performs, the way this car drives, the speed of this car, the way it handles. And honestly, this is one of the sexiest looking cars. But I've actually been extremely against buying one of these cars for a very long time because of the price, because I paid $555,000 for this car, which honestly, I hated it. The fact that a Ferrari is worth that much. But after buying it, I am totally for it, because I had a Lamborghini SV and I paid $500,000 for it, and I thought it was worth it because of the V12, numbered car, whatever. But this tops a Lamborghini SV by a milestone. This car is a million times better. So obviously, first things first, when you come to it, you can see this beautiful front end, how it has like a scoop. So kind of the wind comes in through the front, gives it beautiful downforce, and it just looks extremely aggressive and sexy. And you can determine the difference between a 488 regular, a GTB, and a Pista very, very fast by the simple front end of this car, which looks extremely aggressive. And then also this front end, don't take it for granted. It's actually huge. So this is actually one of the biggest fronts that all of the cars have in the collection. And it is absolutely ginormous because it actually dips into this section in here, and you're actually able to store a lot more than you were able to think. So you can see how the whole hood is carbon fiber. So this car is extremely lightweight, which actually makes this car faster than the twin turbo Lamborghini that I have. So I've raced it with multiple different drivers, multiple different scenarios, roads, speeds, and this by far is faster than the twin turbo Lamborghini. Now, yes, my twin turbo Lambo is pretty much tuned right now to be very low horsepower. I'm probably pushing like 900, like 990, and is a little bit fucked up with the transmission. This thing is fully stock, and it is bypassing it. So if I were to tune up the Lambo, put it on corn, but if I tune up this and put it on corn, I still have my money on this all day. So moving on over to the side, we have these beautiful BBS wheels, which supposedly there's like a 2-year wait list to get these wheels, which is honestly crazy to me. I did not know these wheels were like this. This car actually came built like this as well. I'm telling you, I like finding cars that are already perfectly looking. Also, this color is OEM. So this is a Ferrari color. It is extremely rare. And we do have PPF throughout the whole entire car to make sure that it gets well taken care of. Moving on to the interior of the car. So this car has, I think, one of the sexiest interiors. Even though it's not extremely shout out, it is extremely almost like a low-key flex. You have suede throughout the whole entire car, which makes it a very classy look. It also kind of sucks in the heat because it's like very sticky when you're hot. But I like how you are able to do this little detail when the car wash guy is able to put the detail on it. There's carbon fiber everywhere inside of this car, literally carbon fiber on the dash, carbon fiber here. Something else that's super cool about this car is that it has no carpet. I don't know if they all come like this, but this one has absolutely no carpet. It's like a very raw feel. It's actually a lot better than having a carpet. Carpets always move around and it's honestly whack. Moving on to the back of the vehicle, which I think is the second sexiest part. What do you think is better, the front of the car or the back of the car? Because the back of this car just looks honestly ridiculous. The way the body kit is set up and how the wheels stick out and the stripe, it's just for me a perfect and beautiful combination, and I am happy that I paid every single cent for this car. I was contemplating on buying this car for like 2 months. And then you also have the beautiful V8 twin turbo engine, which has a beautiful display, and as of right now you can clearly see that we are stock. I wouldn't be able to notice any modifications anyways. Making my way over here to the driver's side, we have same thing, no carpet. It's a very raw feel, but it's good because it doesn't get moved around. Something that I do not like about the Ferrari Pista is going to be the turning radius. So the turning radius is honestly ass. Also, that little beeping noise is super annoying at the beginning. Always happens when you turn on the car and turn off the car. So the turning radius on the Ferrari is literally just one spin and that's it. Like that's it. I literally cannot go anymore. So it's very hard to drift this car, and it's very hard to pop U-turns, very hard to just like move the car in a very close range. It sucks because it only turns one time. And I've had multiple friends tell me that their Ferraris, all of them do this. So it's kind of like a Ferrari thing. But it kind of, you know, makes up for the driving experience, how fast the vehicle is. And also I love how when you rev it, I don't know if does this come factory with this right here or no? Like how the way, like, yeah, factory. It does come factory? Well, I think it's dope because whenever I rev it, the revs will come up here as well. So it has like a whine to it, which sounds absolutely incredible. Another thing that I don't like about the car is that the speaker systems are not the best. So if you were to actually want to be able to listen to good music and have aftermarket like bass, This vehicle, you would have to upgrade it because it doesn't sound good with the stock one. You would need aftermarket bass. The Porsche sounds amazing, phenomenal. This one doesn't sound that great. You can see how we have carbon fiber throughout the whole entire door, which makes it actually a very, very great look on the car. And honestly, it does kind of suck that you don't have any, you know, futuristic technology that it were to be right here. But honestly, I feel like this car doesn't need it. I feel like the more raw Ferrari look on it is a lot better. And when you're driving this car, the last thing that you're thinking of is looking at any screen. You're more focused on the experience and how fast this shit is. Something that I did wish that I got was a Spider. So I did wish this was convertible, which would make this car literally, I think, the best car that I would ever own. But it does suck that it is not a Spider, but it does have a very nice suede roof as well. And honestly, if I were to find the spec just like this Spider, I would buy it in a heartbeat. And I'd probably still keep this one as well. That is how much I actually like this car. And remember, I was super against buying a Ferrari for the longest. I've had 20, 30 different supercars and I've never bought in a Ferrari. And I'm like, you know what? I can't go start with a basic 488. If I'm gonna go do it, I'm gonna go do it to the best of the ability that I can. But size-wise, range, you know, I'm 6'9", and I have perfect range inside this car, and I love it. And I've always been super against buying a Ferrari because I thought it was like an old man's car. I never thought they were gonna actually be fun. When you're young like me, you wanna buy Lambo, McLaren, even Porsche. Last thing you think is of a Ferrari. But let me tell you, I was very, very, very wrong. So right now, this is my #1 car in the list, and I don't know what might top it. I probably am going to get, I have 3 cars next that are coming up. One of them is going to be a hypercar, which is already like in the works. I can go get it right now, but I'm like, you know what, let's hold it off. Let me keep enjoying the fleet right now. But I do have a hypercar, literally just one phone call away. It's waiting for me. But I think that car might top this one. But as of right now, this is going to be my #1 car for price. Fun, sportiness, fastness, everything about this car is absolutely incredible. I give it a 9.8 out of 10. The reason I don't give it a 10 out of 10 is because of that turning radius. It sucks. You literally can't, you know, do a proper U-turn. If you were to need to, you'd have to reverse, super annoying. And then the little beeping noise. Aside from that, I have absolutely no complaints. The car is extremely reliable. I beat the shit out of it every single time I drive it, and it drifts beautifully. Coming in at #9 on the list is my Can-Am Maverick Turbo RR X3, I think it is. So this is like the actual best Can-Am you can get in the market. So this is the biggest, the fastest, the loudest, and the widest. So a lot of these Can-Ams are actually very narrow and they flip very easily. This is actually extremely wide, so the odds of you flipping are pretty low. And honestly, I fucking hate this thing, bro. Like this thing, there's not one time that it has not let me down. It's let me down every single time that I go out. Either the belt snaps, the battery runs out of battery, it fucking gets stuck in the middle of a puddle. This thing is just ass. Oh, I have a winch for what? I got stuck in the middle of the forest at like 3 in the afternoon with the blazing sun, and then this thing just decided to stop working. It was, honestly, this thing is more of a mission than it is fun, to be truthfully honest. At least the way I've experienced it here in Miami. So something really cool about it, obviously, I was able to put, you know, set and forget throughout the whole entire car. And then inside here, the drive is actually not the best, but this is kind of like normal when it comes to these type of cars. Like the drive isn't going to be like an actual car. Right, like if it were to be a big go-kart, it's always all over the road. It is fast as shit. So in this car, I actually have tune and exhaust. This probably hits like 110 miles an hour. And it is extremely and obnoxiously loud that you almost can't even talk. And the noise of the exhaust itself will actually be louder than the speakers. So we literally have speakers like right here, like in your ear. So like whoever's sitting right here, they're having a tough time determining if they're gonna listen to the music or the exhaust, that this thing is just ridiculously loud, and I regret doing 100%. So mine is actually street legal. So I have mirrors throughout the whole entire car. I have turning signals, I have a horn, I have extra lights, and I have tail lights. And this makes it actually street legal, just not in the state of Florida, because the guy that I bought it from did all this shit to it and pretty much saved me the time. But at the end of the day, if you're riding this on the street, you're not stopping. You're just gonna go. One of my favorite things about it is if you wanna have like an eventful, like fun thing to do with like guests that you have over your house, this is definitely the go-to thing because it will definitely break. And if you wanna see how these people react to difficult situations, this will put you in a difficult situation and it will determine if that person is a winner or a loser. Because if this shit breaks and then they are a little girl about it and then they don't man up and, you know, help you fix it or whatever, you know, that's not the person you want to be around. But if you break down in the middle of a forest with mosquitoes and in the middle of the sun and the person you're with helps you and, you know, they're all for it, you got a winner. So it's also good because you can have fun in it and you can test the people that you're with, if they're strong people or weak people. So I paid about $50,000 for this when I got it. It's been about almost like 8 months since I've had it, and I've probably used it like 10 times, 15 times, and every single time I've taken it out, it's broken. So overall, I give this piece of shit 3 out of 10. I hate it. Oh, and just show you guys how unreliable this is. In every door, I have a belt because these belts break like if it were to be a piece of pencil. It literally just snaps all the time. So I have to ride around with a brand new belt ready to change at all times. Coming to in the list is going to be my 2020 Rolls-Royce Phantom. Now, I have had about 4 Rolls-Royces in the past. I've had a Rolls-Royce Cullinan, I've had a Rolls-Royce Dawn, I've had a Rolls-Royce Ghost, and I actually have another one coming as well. And this is by far my favorite Rolls-Royce and car in general. That's why it's number 2 in the list. So this is supposed to be obviously a chauffeur car. You're supposed to get driven in this car in the back of it, because obviously the back of it is the place where you want to be, which is obviously the captain chair, if you will. Don't mind this little hole in here, this little keyhole. The car is actually getting wrapped. And I told the guys, I'm like, yo, are you guys done wrapping it? They're like, no. Like, all right, I don't give a shit, give it to me. I gotta do a video with it. So it's, you know, it's missing some things because the car is still actively getting wrapped. The car is actually gray under. Gray looks terrible. I only bought this car because of this interior. Like, this interior is actually beautiful. So they don't make, and this is OEM from Rolls-Royce. So if you look at the roof as well, the roof is actually orange and it has the orange starlights everywhere throughout the roof, and obviously orange throughout the whole entire car. And the gray is actually really ugly. If anything, like, I'll pop up a picture right here, but I bought it just because of the interior, because none of these Rolls-Royces from Rolls-Royce come with a custom interior like that. They come with very basic ones, and the ones that have the aftermarket upgraded, you know, interior that they put them to, like these baby blues and these all like crazy random colors, they look good, but the quality of it is never like an OEM Rolls-Royce interior. And this is an OEM Rolls-Royce interior. So we make our way to the front. We have a beautiful orange little detail that we did right here on the Rolls-Royce logo, which pretty much shows that we have orange interior. We did a full chrome delete on the car to make it look like a black badge. It's not a black badge, not gonna lie to you guys. And we wrapped it black, which makes it look extremely aggressive. If we make our way to the front of the car, because bro, this car is fucking ginormous and I love it. We have a beautiful big steering wheel. I hate that it's not orange. So if this steering wheel would actually be orange, this would probably be the most gangster car on the face of the earth. I love this orange roof right here, because like when you're taking a video and you see like the orange roof, you're gonna get like this like young vibe, like this motivational vibe. The car is actually out of battery right now, so even if I wanted to turn it on, I can't turn it on because I guess I left it on with the lights on night or something. So the guys are gonna come now and turn it on. But this car is fucking huge. You guys can see how like there's extraordinary amount of space in here if you were to be driving the car or not. And even if you're driving the car, you're enjoying the luxuries of the car. Like, look how many different features this car has to offer. And I personally like driving this car more than being driven, because you just look like a boss. You look like a pimp riding around in this car with the starlights and the way it feels. You feel like good driving it. I don't like getting driven inside of this car specifically. The back of this car is actually very cool because we have multiple different features that not every Rolls-Royce has. One, we have an option where we have this that lifts to the upside. So if the car were to have battery, I'd be able to show you, but this actually lifts. So if you don't want to have your feet flat, you can actually lift it and it'll make your feet like this. It's a little bit more comfortable. We also have a TV and a desk inside this section right here. And we also have obviously our extra control panels and then rear controlled seats. Makes it super comfortable. And then we have a cooler inside this section with our little Rolls-Royce cups, which we will never use in the world. Why does not have Rolls-Royce branding? And I think it's legal to drink inside this car because it is a chauffeur car and because of how far you actually are from the steering wheel. Like, look how far the actual hood of this car is. Like, I'm sitting back here chilling, and for you to actually see how far that hood is, it is actually crazy far how it is from the point where I am now. So love the size of this car. It is absolutely incredible for being driven and chauffeur status. And honestly, just feeling like a boss overall. And the looks of this car. There's no crazier look. Like, I can guarantee you, you pull up to a restaurant and you hop out of this thing, you will get a crazier look if you were to get out of the Ferrari Pista. People just look at this and they think ultra wealth. Even though this kind of has the same price point, even a little bit cheaper than the Pista. People just look at this and they think it's like an ultimate boss car, which it is. And that's why I like it, because it just makes you feel like super powerful status. It's just, you feel like a pimp inside this car at any given point, whether you're on the driver's side, back, or even being driven around. Some things that I do hate about this car are going to be these stock wheels that it has on right now. So I've had this car probably for about 3-4 weeks. The majority of the time it's been inside the shop, just getting worked on, because it didn't come how I wanted to, so I just had it in the shop. So I hate the stocks on this car. And there's actually nothing else that I hate on this car. The way it drives, obviously it's Rolls-Royce Phantom, drives absolutely incredible. Speed, it's a boat. It does have a V12 twin turbo, so it's gonna be fast, but it's a boat. It has 6,000 pounds. The way it rides, it's a fucking cloud. You can literally feel nothing on the road. Sound system is incredible. The way you feel and look inside of it is incredible. I have absolutely no complaints of this car other than those stock wheels, but that's very fixable, and with the new wheels that I'm going to be getting. And aside from that, I fucking love it. The only reason why it's not #1 is because the Ferrari, the performance and everything just blows it out the water. So all in all, this car, probably once I finish the wheels, once I finish the wrap, and obviously other little imperfections, because you can see like I wanted this to be wrapped as well, like, or smoked out. It's not, obviously that's like $100, not a big deal. But like all in with like wheels, wrap, and everything else that I'm gonna put into it, I'll probably be in above the 400,000s on this car, probably almost $500,000, or like in that range. And honestly, I think it'll be worth it every single cent. This is by far the most luxurious and most boss car I have ever purchased. And I've been strategically waiting to buy it, because I could have obviously bought it a really long time ago, but I don't wanna like buy it so fast, because like, what do I buy after a Phantom? Like there's no other like bigger Rolls-Royce. What do you have, like an extended Phantom, which is the same shit at the end of the day. So I bought the one that I wanted. I bought it exactly how I wanted, and now I'm gonna spec it out exactly how I want to. So if I were to rate this car, I would give it a 10 out of 10. No complaints. One of the most beautiful and luxurious cars that I have owned, and I'm very happy to have it part of my fleet. Just excited to have it done, and obviously have the battery come back alive.